Hello everybody, it's your Uncle Jim. I wanted to make a video today to celebrate my kidney transplant. Today is the 4th anniversary of my kidney transplant, April 27th, 2016. I want to thank my good friend Dr. Goggins for having transplanted me, and my good friend Dr. Debbie, and my transplant coordinator Moni for looking after me since my transplant has taken place. So I wanted to talk to you today about my transplant story, and just as a memorial to a memory to share about my kidney transplant. So I had a meeting with my pre-transplant doctor early in April of 2016, and we were discussing the results of my annual tests. When you're going for a transplant, you take tests every year to make sure that you're still healthy enough to survive it. So we were going over the results, and he said, Jim, it'd probably be another year, maybe two. And I had kind of been through this. I had a number of false alarms. I was listed in 3 places, and every place had called me at one time or another and said, you know, you're 6th on our list, you're 5th on our list, and things just didn't happen to work out on those occasions. So, you know, I'm on dialysis. You don't have a lot of choice. You just got to roll with it, and that's what I did. So on the 26th of April 2016, I received a call from my pre-transplant coordinator at IU Health in Indianapolis, Christy Williams, and I kind of anticipated it was, you know, we need to do some more tests, or could you get us test results from one of your other transplant centers? Because these things happened all the time while I was waiting. And when I got on the phone with Christy said to me, we have a kidney for you. And at times like that, stressful times like that, I usually make some kind of an incredibly bad joke. And I did at that time. I said, you wouldn't kid an old man, would you? And she said, no, this is serious, Jim. We have a kidney for you. We need you to get down here. We want to do this tomorrow. So as a transplant candidate, you know, your bags are always packed. So I got my packed bag. A friend of mine drove me down, and I was transplanted the next day by Dr. William Goggins at IU Health in Indianapolis. And I remember being wheeled in to the operating room. I remember my heart is like really pounding, you know, and thinking, this is it, they're really going to do this. And, you know, they hooked me up. They put me on the anesthesia. They said, count back from 100. I went 100, 99, 98, and that's all I remember until I woke up in the recovery room. And fortunately for me, the transplant took right away. The kidney was working right away. It woke up right away. I was urinating. I felt a little bit under the weather because of the anesthesia, but basically it was great. And I've been very fortunate. The people looking after me since then have taken really good care of me, and kidney's still in very, very good shape. Interesting, I was a middle-aged guinea pig. I found out 3 years after my transplants in my conversation, or my transplant, I should say, I only have one. 3 years after my transplant, I had a conversation with my transplant doctor, Dr. William Goggins, and he told me that he wrote a study about my transplant to try and encourage other physicians to transplant kidney patients in the same situation. And here's what was going on. Apparently, because I'd had a number of blood transfusions, I was extremely anemic when I was on dialysis. My antibodies, my antigens would go up and down. They would rise above a certain level, or you wouldn't transplant, but they would bounce back to a level where you would, and that was my history. So, you know, they do that blood test with the kidney before you actually transplant, and apparently I flunked on the day I was transplanted. But Dr. Goggins knew my history, so he took a little bit of a risk. And they monitored me very, very closely after my transplant. I would go down, I was given medication, I was given infusions. I mean, they looked after me, very, very carefully, and I'm always very appreciative of that. So eventually, the number came back down to an acceptable level. They made sure that my kidney did not reject, and like I said, Dr. Goggins wrote a study on it to try and encourage others. So that's my transplant story, and I want to encourage everybody that's thinking about it to please get listed. Please consider transplant. If you're on that list, I hope my story gives you some hope, because I waited 4 years for that transplant. If you're someone that is trying to get a transplant without going on dialysis, I wish you the very, very best of luck. I have a good friend, Ken Bressler, who had a pre-dialysis transplant, and I believe that April 30th he'll be going on his 33rd, 34th year of transplant from his brother Kip. So, at any rate, thanks for listening. I hope that everybody has a great day, and I just want you all to know I'm very appreciative, and I'm very happy to be a transplanted patient. This has made a world of difference to me, and it's a much better lifestyle and a much better form of life than I had when I was on dialysis, and certainly it's a much better style of life that when I got really, really sick and had to go on dialysis. At any rate, Uncle Jim's talked enough, so I'm done. I will talk to you guys again very soon. You take care. Have a great week. Bye for now.